Hey folks, I have been at Salute, but before Salute on the Friday, the new Elven Command squad turned up for Warhost, so I figured I'd just go through the figures and show everyone the detail on them and the amazing work Paul Hicks has done as always. I am not normally an elf player, and I'm very patiently just waiting for dwarves to appear. And I do have a very big orc force, and the new orc command squad was amazing in terms of scoops and to paint, and I love it. And I do need to just finish off the last few bits on them because they've been sat on my desk now for a while, but work's been manic. But this is basically a fast and dirty review of the new Elven Command that was on pre-order for most of the month, and then I was quite lucky it got shipped literally it arrived the Friday before Salute, so kind of a bonus package of miniatures for me just before Salute. So we'll get into it as a fast and dirty review, and we'll go from there. So we've got the usual. I'll just get my camera to zoom in a bit better. We've got the usual six figures. I'll just move them out a bit so we can see them a bit better. We've got. Camera's not playing today. It's one of those mornings. Two standard bearers, a musician, and then three commanders. I'll just go through them and you can see what I mean. So if we start with the back rank of the pair of standard bearers and the musician, the standard bearers are pretty much your usual. I'll bring them both in. Your usual standard bearers. Guy on the left here that I'm moving. A massive 200 sword, beautifully done for the Dawn Blades. Proper, really nice Dawn Blade Elven standard bearer. Given that the new Dawn Blades can be used as command squads for your commanders, absolutely spot on and perfect for me. Cannot complain at those. They're just full of character, these things, and Paul has done such an outstanding job as always. And then the other standard bearers, we just move them across. Just sword, articulated plate armor as such. Generic sword wielding standard bearer, good for generally marines or normal elven squads, whichever you're using as a command squad. Really, really useful. Absolutely stunning. Ow, that was my leg because I've just hit my stand. But yeah, again, facial features, the sculpt quality. Paul has just knocked it out the park as always. I cannot complain. The third model that isn't a commander is, and I love this, it's a drummer. It's an elven drummer. And when I saw this, my initial thought was, that's really cool because it's not your typical style of drum. It's very much got the drum styles. Like when you look at Asian drummers, or like at least like India and Pakistan, and the drumming styles and the drums that they have, very similar style of how the drums held around and hit from each end to play, rather than kind of like a Western style of drummer where it's hung off his belt like a snare drummer type thing of like, you have a drum and you just carry along with one drum beating it. It's a bit like the orc drummer's got multiple skulls with skins on, which is really cool. He's not just like one drum, it's multiple drums. It's that kind of variance of character that makes these command squads so awesome. And not just the six-pack new command squads, but like the original sculpt command squads. Like, they're so uniquely characterful, and Paul has knocked it out the park. And with this new Elven one in particular, it is awesome as hell. Like, I love that drummer. And I love the standard bearers. Both are beautiful sculpts. I am looking forward to painting them up. I'm not a big elf player in Warhost. I will keep buying the elven stuff when it comes out and expanding the elven forces, but it's not like it's my primary force. A lot of this is actually then down to putting on demo games or having a display game of Warhost at wargaming shows. And I try to keep it to a similar colour scheme, so I will have unified forces. They should be quite nice. If we go on to the commanders, I'll do these individually. We'll start with this guy. Like, sculpting wise, Unfortunately, I did drop him when he turned up, so his sword has got a little bent and disfigured. But if we pop him down, give him a rotate, so my fat fingers aren't in the way. But basically, he's covered in plate and scale armor. He's basically dual wielding swords. It's cool. It's useful in the game just as a characterful representation of certain abilities or certain weapons, because the game runs off Warhost. Warhost runs off Baron's War. There isn't any really big rules for dual wielding. With the new King John book, you do have dual wielded daggers. I might put a special rule in to Warhost games for dual wielding swords that have the same effect as a dual wielding dagger, and a few other tweaks. So you can do elves dual wielding swords as a unit. That does strike me, or I might make it a commander particular thing. It's just I saw that figure and my brain fizzed, and I was like, yeah, I can do a lot with this within the rules that you could tie in from the new King John book with certain weapon options that have appeared in that, and then with Warhost, dual-wielded swords for elven forces, or just dual-wielded weapons where it's a bonus benefit thing, and that's that. It's just, I won't include crits in this because Warhost does not have like the critical effect because it can be quite overpowered in a game. So yeah, that was one of the big inspirations. Then you've got an alternative Great Axeman. The original command had two-handed axeman. You've got this one in the new set, just kind of gesticulating across with his axe in a position, very heroic posed in the way he is, like the hand gesture to command. If elves could take heavy armor, if elven mages could take heavy armor and great weapons, that hand gesture with a slight tweak would make a really good mage casting something. But he's not. He's just a beautiful commander with a beautiful two-handed axe. Just absolutely stunning scale armor and a breastplate and the pauldrons on the shoulder. Out of all the sculpts I like, elves with two-handed axes are always my favourite, and particularly that style of axe almost. It harkens back to the old high elf days of the white lines of Therese, which I absolutely adored as a dwarf player. Okay, in Warhammer Fantasy and a lot of other games, I am always a dwarf player. To have elves with really beautifully sculpted axes is it ticks a lot of boxes in my head, but I think that's the dwarf influence on my playing and what I enjoy in life. Is like I love axes as weapons. I do love two-handed swords. The elves with the more slightly oriental style curved swords like katanas and like saber-esque, katana-esque curved single-edged swords is fine, but it's just that doesn't always tick the box for me as a weapon, whereas that beast of a two-handed axe absolutely does tick the box. And with the scale armor reinforced at the edges and the breastplates and the greaves and the arm and the freaking van braces and the pauldrons, it's like that is probably the one model with the drummer that I am most looking forward to putting paint on overall. And again, Dane axes are a thing in the King John book and in Warhost as a whole, well, in Baron's War, sorry. So it'd be very easy if you got an elven great axe wielding unit to count them as having Dane axes, which would give them benefits for hitting plus negative modifiers to enemy shields. So that'd be really cool. And then the last commander, this is very Greek in his own way. And it's not Greek, but it is Greek. But it's Byzantinic Greek in some respects. It's Roman. It's classical history. A transversed crest on, for all intents and purposes, a Corinthian helm almost. He's got scale mail. He's got a breastplate on. He's got greaves on. He's got, I think, van braces on. Okay. And then he's got a shoulder cape of scale mail that just, and then the knotted belt with the, it is so fantasy, but has so many historical, cultural references in it that I genuinely, like the new Elf Command Squad's just beautiful. And if you were starting an Elven army, honestly, if you picked up this plus the other command set, that would give you like 3 banners, 2 musicians, and about 4 command figures, which is fine. It would be nice to maybe have additional banner bearers and maybe 1 more musician, just so you've got some variants of musicians in the game. Like, there's 2 musicians and there's 3 banner bearers in effect in what is available. It would be nice to kind of have 1 bannerman per commander figure and maybe a musician per commander figure, but I'm not so bothered about the musician. But just going forwards, if Paul sculpted 1 extra commander figure and just then they were selling them in packs of 3 of a commander, a standard bearer, and a musician. And it doesn't matter if it's just the drummer or the trumpeter for the elves, and you just kind of, with the 4 command packs, it doesn't really matter. As much as the game is WYSIWYG, this is an amazing sculpt pack. I'm just going to move him back in with his other fellows. I mean, I am looking forward to painting these. I would like maybe a standard bearer with a 2-handed axe to go alongside the 2-handed axeman. I'm not saying I'm particularly wedded to it, but I would like maybe something on those lines. That would make me really happy. I mean, the dwarves got a big horn. If you had to, like the Dwarf Command Squad that's been previewed for the new Dwarf range when that comes out, they've got a big horn. Just as a shout out to Mr. Hicks, because the dwarves are somewhat a bit more mechanically minded, given that they can take a repeating bolt thrower on their guild wagons as one of the upgrades. It might be nice is if one of the dwarf commands, if they do a 6-pack dwarf command squad to expand the dwarves, if you could put a hurdy-gurdy on a dwarf commander, the other musician, that would be really nice. I don't know why I want a hurdy-gurdy in Warhost, but it's just the idea of having a hurdy-gurdy in Warhost on the dwarfs feels right, and I don't know why that is, and that's not a big, like, oh, don't do that, but that is very much what I would like. So, yeah, that's great. I'm going to sign off now because this is like, we're at 13 minutes. I've reviewed them. They're stunning. If you are looking to get into Warhost and you want to have inspirational figures to start your collection, then get this command squad first and then go with the elves in terms of what warriors you take, everything else. Because you're going to need command squads, you're going to need green troops. And if you're an elf player, the warband, the combat patrol type starter force that they've got on the Warhost site is perfectly adequate for what it is. But if you wanted to start somewhere else where you could have a command squad that you're happy with and build from that because it's the inspiration, then pick up these and pick up, say, a pack of the Dawn Blades and go from there, because this guy, plus this guy, plus this guy, plus a pack of Dawn Blades is a command squad for an Elven army, and you're good to go. Like, genuinely, you're good to go. So, I'm going to sign off now. Thanks for watching, listening, and doing whatever else, guys. You don't have to like and subscribe. I'm not here for the likes and subscribes. I'm here because I like to review beautiful miniatures sculpted by one of my favourite sculptors. So there we go. See you all later. Cheers and bye.